Gary's Back.exe, presumably by Undead Red 12. It was my first year in college. There was nothing to do other than my classes, which are super boring. One week, my sister had brought me her Pokemon Fire Red version, and she told me that she got bored of it after telling me how our mom got her blue version. I took out my Game Boy Advanced and started up the game. A save file was there. It was named Red. I pressed start. Red was in the Lavender Town Tower, standing over a grave. I tried to move Red, but he just walked in place. A few seconds later, Red stopped. He just froze. After I could make Red walk again, I looked at his party. There was 6 unknowns spelling "Get Out." There was a level 56 Espeon as well. It was named Alive. Get out alive? As I made Red walk out of the tower, he stopped. Gary walked out. His skin was pale and he looked like his sprite was crying. He had an Eevee walking next to him. I was getting a little scared at this point. A text box came up. You. Gary slowly walked out of Lavender Town. I couldn't control Red again. He walked to a girl sprite and she said, "Gary is looking for you." I walked Red out of Lavender Town. There was a house. Red walked himself slowly into the house. It was dark. No light was shown in the house. The door slammed. Red ran back to the door, and more text boxes came up. You can't. Now I'm sad and trapped. You made me like this. Now you will join me. Gary's sprite was spilling blood from his eyes, and from a cut on his arm. His pale gray skin was dabbled with bumps. His brown hair stayed the same. Gary's voice was like a yowl from a dying cat. Every step Red took from where Gary was got louder. So loud that my ears were ringing. I had to shut the sound off. As the room door opened, Red walked in. Gary stood in front of Red. His Eevee stood in front of him, growling. "Red, you found me. You got me now." I was shocked. Red got closer to Gary, and battle music burst out from my Game Boy, and I yowled in pain. Gary sent out his Eevee. It was level 100. I sent out my Houndoom. That was level 90. My Houndoom used Nightmare on its own. Gary's Eevee used Tackle, making my Houndoom faint. Then it said, "Houndoom died. Eevee died." Gary came up. "You can't stop killing my dreams." The sound hissed a loud killer yowl. I shut the sound off for good. Gary sent out his last Pokemon, a level 19 Raticate. I sent out Megary, a level 10 Trico. Razor Leaf hit Raticate and lowered its health down to 2 HP left. "Gow, could you?" Gary's sprite looked like it was crying again. Raticate used. The move looked a little like Bite. Raticate died. Gary came up. He looked mad, and like he clawed his face. He said, "How could you?" More text came up. "You killed my destiny, my pride, my Raticate. You killed my trust." After Gary said that, he was gone. I made Red run to the front door, but it was locked. "Why did you do this?" "Now you'll suffer like I did." Then the game went blank, and it said the saved file was corrupt. Then the game was gone. Gary's still there. That was Gary's Back.exe. Final thoughts? Just all around bad. Right off the bat, I need to take off a few points. Not only did it bring up Lavender Town, but it did it within the first few sentences. I also need to take off a few more because of that very short and unnecessary explanation as to why the player is playing the game at the start. Either put some real time and effort into a good backstory leading into playing the game, or don't have one at all and just say you had this weird experience with the game and start writing it down. The worst thing you can do is have a generic and rushed intro to the story. Anyone who has read Lost Silver before probably called ripoff very early in this story. If you did, I completely agree. The idea of spelling things out with unknown, then ending with a Pokemon named something that goes together with it, was completely stolen from Lost Silver. Although it makes far less sense here as he had 6 unknown and an Espeon. That's 7 Pokemon. You can't have 7 Pokemon in a team, and that was never addressed. Then of course we are followed by plenty of generic crap lines, like, "Now you will join me," and unexplained gore and blood just to try and be scary. And of course there are the obligatory Pokemon died instead of fainted messages. It actually blew my mind that for the first time in quite a while, the author didn't write the generic, "But Pokemon don't die, how could this be?" line that is just about mandatory in every hack Pokemon creepypasta. On top of this, the author isn't very good at word choice. Yowl would have been a great descriptive word if you don't see it so often. Try different words, using the same standout word over and over just takes out all of its specialness. I want to say that he spent all of his time and effort into spell checking, as his grammar was all around pretty good. But then he had the line, "Razor Leaf hit the Raticate and lowered its health down to 2 HP left." Like he forgot how a sentence started, and the word left in the sentence is completely superfluous. To make matters worse, this was immediately followed by the line, "How could you? Proofread your story, send it to friends. You could easily have caught this before uploading it." For about 2 months now, I've been exclusively reading Pokemon Creepypasta that are not already on YouTube, so that I can show people new creepypasta without them having to go out and find it. However, since when I pick the creepypasta, it's either at random or from when someone posts their own homemade creepypasta on my forum, the forum link is in the description by the way, the quality hasn't always been as good as what it used to be. Most of the creepypasta on YouTube is either there because it's good, or it's bad but still scares people for one reason or another. I will continue to do ones that aren't already on YouTube, but with my recent boom in popularity due to you guys coming in and finding me through my creepypasta, I've had a lot more people who are writing stories personally requesting they are done on my show. With that said, I think the quality of Pokemon Creepypasta will go up on this show. Yes, most of the requests I've already read on the show so far are quite awful, but the authors all had a good laugh along with us and learned from the things that I pointed out. That being said, I will start to do a few more stories that are already on YouTube, but are of great quality. Other than that, I would like the focus to still be on sharing new creepypasta that you've never heard of before. Tune in again next week when we tackle yet another Pokemon creepypasta, written and sent to me from someone in our very own community, with Too Powerful by Nidotongue. Until next time, sweet dreams.